the LTAC meeting for 2020, looking at 2021 allocations. We currently have a projected budget of $100,000 for 2021 to allocate. And it's also for 2022 in the biennium budget, but we're only looking at allocations for 2021. Obviously, this has been a very interesting year. Next year will probably be just as interesting. The only thing I have is that I have to leave at 3:30. So if we can keep our comments and do a lot of listening and see what questions they have, it'd be greatly appreciated. And welcome. And Corinne, nice to see you. And it's been a while. And Sharon, always nice to see you. Matt, haven't seen you in a while too. I think that's it for me.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and let Visit Kitsap, which is Brenda Kelly, into the meeting. Welcome, Brenda. We're just waiting for your audio to connect into the meeting. There we go. So this is the Lodging Tax Committee, and the format is to present to the committee your presentation that was submitted for 2021 lodging tax funds. You'll have 5 minutes to present your case, if you will, and then we'll have 5 minutes left for question and answering. And so go ahead and start anytime, and you can unmute yourself when you're ready. Can't tell if you're, oh, there we go.
There we go. I think my my roommate is in his office, so I can take off my mask. Hi, everybody. I am Brenda Kelly with Visit Kitsap. And the application for Port Orchard this year was very in-depth. We went into a lot of information about COVID. Obviously, that has been a big question and concern for a lot of people. So I will start off by talking about what we've done for COVID and to be able to adapt during these trying times. Immediately, Visit Kitsap jumped on the need in the local business area to address the concerns that small businesses were having, primarily in the food industry. So we developed our new website, kitsapbites.com, and that website has generated a lot of advertising for every area, including Port Orchard, and helping those small businesses reach new clientele and be able to feature things that they weren't able to feature before, like their online websites, outdoor eating options, to go, things of that nature. A lot of businesses had to adapt and change during these times to reach different areas, target markets and stuff, to be able to say, we're now offering to go, we're now offering these things. As far as our hotels go, they are obviously in flux. Some are doing great, some are not. Port Orchard, we reached out to the Port Orchard hotels in the beginning. We partnered with some local bakeries and sent goodies for the visitors and things. We continue to come up with new ways to keep them listed and informed of what Visit Kitsap has to offer, including our new newsletters that are going out to local stakeholders, including the hotels, that shows and features all of the ways that they can advertise for free with us through visitkitsap.com. Our website, as well as our brochures that go out. So if you want to take a look, I'm assuming everybody has the application and is able to see that. So visit kitsapbites.com. We have developed those. There's some print ads in the beginning displays. We have lessened those currently, but hopefully we'll be able to start doing many of those again, featuring activities and things to do on the Kitsap Peninsula and in Port Orchard. The second page was a lot of examples of our Facebook ads that we create for Port Orchard's area businesses, including their logos and things of that nature, that we also put on our website so that it features Port Orchard. Port Orchard is also listed on an independent page on our website. So travelers who are searching for things to do, places to go, places to stay, will be able to search Port Orchard directly on our website. We did have to adapt a little bit and start informing some people who are visiting and who are here, whether it's business or travel, about COVID. So we had to develop some COVID resource pages as well, and then come up with some activities for people to do during these times. Things like our Discover Outdoor Art on the Kitsap Peninsula is a great example of that, because we partnered with AAA, and this ad actually went out in a AAA magazine as well as online and things as well. And that featured some Port Orchard areas as well as artwork.
We've got about 30 seconds left. Is that about right, Jay?
Yes, under the 5 minutes.
Okay, about 30 seconds.
Okay.
We'll open it up for question and answering.
So the last is examples of the brochures that we produce as well. And of course, Port Orchard is prominently listed in all of those that are available all around the Sound, as well as that get mailed out to thousands and thousands of people every year. So for that, anyone have any questions?
Go ahead, Sharon.
And looking at the page of brochures where I see that Port Orchard is listed, I see a lot of activities, but how do you market the events that in particular Fathoms does? Because we put on 6-7 major events a year, and how would those be covered in any of your advertising?
It's a good question. So we partner with a lot of the events and organizations. Those that reach out to us, we have helped them in the past financially, as well as in marketing. So we promote all of the area events on our Facebook page, as well as Instagram and our website. And then when we run ads, a lot of our ads include events that are coming out, as well as radio. We do radio in Seattle, KNKX, KOW, and we feature a lot of the events that are happening in the area on those shout outs on the radio as well.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Quick question. Hi, Lorraine. Have you started to switch more toward online as opposed to brochure? In other words, what percentage are you doing online as opposed to hard copy?
So all of our brochures are available online. They are currently online and always have been. A lot of what we're doing is a little more throwaway. So we've switched a little more to the throwaway version, like kidsupbites.com. I printed up 6x6 so they can be used in the hotels so that hotel staff can hand them out. So people checking in get a little slip with the information so they can go to the website, order food online, and the paper's disposable and cheap. So there's little ways to make things a little COVID friendly, basically. But for the most part, the brochure is still widely sought after. Our main visitor brochure is massively sought after. We're still on the ferries, we're still mailing them, and they're still available in most hotels. A lot of the hotels don't have them set out right now, but they do have them behind the desk or available if people ask for them.
Lorraine, did you have a question?
I do. Thank you. Hi, I'm Lorraine Olson. I apologize for joining late. I really appreciate how you've incorporated COVID in your adaptations that you've made. And I know that's not easy and we're all trying to figure this out. What do you think, you all have access to research, and I'm sure you talk to other organizations. What do you anticipate happening in 2021? I know there's no crystal ball, but you have to make some assumptions or some hopeful assumptions.
Yes, absolutely. That's a really good question. I am on a lot of boards. I am partaking in a lot of community talks, as well as I work with a lot of event planners. I'm even on the Whaling Days board. So there is a lot of changes happening right now. It kind of looks like the early stuff, like the January, February events, the winter Wedding Expo has been pushed off. So those early ones are being pushed out, but the kind of feeling that we're getting is that some are trying to adapt. Tree lightings are still going to happen. Lights are still going to go up. People can still drive. They just don't want people collaborating right now publicly in person. So the big thought right now is that spring is going to open up things for us, and that we're going to be able to have some gatherings and have some things happen, but it'll be in a new modified way. So a lot of these events that I'm talking with, like Blackberry Fest and things like that, they're looking at maybe fencing off their event and making it be a ticketed event so that they can control the crowds and the numbers. So there's going to be a lot of change, and a lot of these events are going to need help. They're going to need support as well to make this stuff happen in these new ways too, as we hopefully get back to normal.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, so I think unless the committee has more questions, I think that is the time that we have for Visit Kitsap, and our next applicant is ready to speak on their topic. So committee members, one last chance to ask any questions? Nope. Okay, so you are more than welcome to stay and hang out for us for the next hour or so, or you can excuse yourself. Just leave the meeting, and we're going to go ahead and present to have the next presenter present. Okay, so keeping in time with our agenda, we do have 2 minutes before we actually have the next presenter present, but if everybody's ready and willing, then we can go ahead and move forward, or if the committee wants to talk for 1.5 minutes, we can do that as well.
Just to let you know, Lorraine, we have to end by 3:30. There's another Zoom meeting I have to go to.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, so with that, Matt is here to present 2 items, and I just have, and that's for the Chamber of Commerce. One is for the Explore Port Orchard, and the other one is the Visitor Center, sorry. Whichever one you want to do first, Matt, I think we're okay with that, but we'll start and stop and then have a break in between, and then we'll start you back up again unless the committee wants you to keep moving forward. So with that, you have 5 minutes to present on the first item.
All right, outstanding. Thank you. Hopefully you can all hear me. Thank you, everybody. Lorraine, I don't have a crystal ball either. If I do, it's really cloudy right now. 2020 has I've coined the official phrase for 2020 as "it sucks." And it has happened on so many different levels. I want to talk first about the visitor center. Basically, it's our stock proposal that we propose each year for basically hosting the visitor center for South Kitsap. You know, not only did 2020 suck for the chamber and for the visitors and for the hotels and for the businesses, it's kind of sucked for the people also. We have been closed quite a bit, very much like the city has, and you know, that has stopped us from necessarily manning our stations, so to speak. But believe it or not, the requests and the calls are continuing to come in. Whether or not people have actually shown up or not is an entirely different question. So, you know, what we're asking for is just a portion of the operating funds for the visitor center. You know, things that we do. We are, when we're there, the face of South Kitsap. You know, the production time for the brochures that we put out. Many of you have seen the Getaway for the Day brochure that we created. The chamber basically created it. Explore Port Orchard is the one that printed it and distributed it, but Explore Port Orchard doesn't have any time built into it for staffing or anything like that. Fielding the calls, sending out the welcome packets, the stuff like that. We're still doing those things, like I said, albeit not quite as many as before. You know, we do have, we pivoted. I love that word. Oh, really? I hate that word. We pivoted. We created Rediscover Kitsap in conjunction with the other chambers in the county. If nothing else, I think the COVID and the pandemic has brought us all closer together. Whether it's just here on Zoom or wherever, I could almost reach out and touch some of you. That's what we've done across the county with the Chambers of Commerce. We're working closer than ever. The Kitsap Mall has their kiosk that is run by the Silverdale Chamber of Commerce that we feed into, again, just to let people know what's going on around here. The Rediscover Facebook page, some of you, I know, Karina posts on it quite often. You know, our objective with that is to attract people from Port Gamble down to Port Orchard and vice versa, getting everybody to try to stay home a little bit closer. Lorraine, unfortunately, that doesn't necessarily put any heads in your beds, but you know, what we are trying to do is we're trying to generate income for the local businesses. And, you know, if we had any events, those would definitely help us. We created the staycation guide in conjunction with the Silverdale Chamber of Commerce. So each of the communities in Kitsap put together their own staycation guide as a tool that locals could use to, again, get away for the day, but without violating any supreme order from above. And, you know, the ability to, you know, still get out with their families. And so it included a lot of things to do here in Port Orchard. And that's basically, you know, what we do, what we're doing, what we hope to do in the future. Lorraine, I hope, my goal is I had an overseas trip planned this year. It was canceled. I'm not going to do it next year because my guess is everybody and their brother is going to be going out next year because we are also sick and tired of being locked up. So I'm hoping next year will be a great year. That's what I'm shooting for. So that's all I have. I don't know how much time I got left, but I will yield my time back to the floor.
You get about a minute. So with that, do we have any questions for
I
Matt?
had coffee this morning, and so I talked really fast.
Good job. Committee, questions, comments?
Matt, again, my question of last time is what have you, from a percentage wise, with the allocation of cost going from hard copy to digital?
Well, like Brenda did, all of our stuff is available online. Our brochure, like the Getaway for the Day brochure that we have, is available, and it is interactive. You can click on each piece of the brochure, and it's available. It'll take you to more stuff to see within the area. That's the only piece that the chamber's done. I can talk more about some of our online stuff when it comes to Explore Port Orchard, and it's, for us, a lot of it is online. It's the website, it's the Rediscover Kitsap, and it's just our Facebook also.
So I guess my real question is, are you shifting your costs, and how would you look at it from a percentage from hard copy to digital?
As far as so the only thing that we don't put online, and the only thing that we don't do, that's a Discover, is the fact that we send stuff out. The only thing that we really have that we produce for marketing purposes is our website. Explore Port Orchard, it does the rest of it. We do send out the welcome packets to people that say they're coming to the area, and that's all hard copy. I figure if the lady in Des Moines writes us a letter, hard copy is probably the best means of communicating with her.
Thanks.
All right, so
Wait, there's a question.
more questions. I'm sorry. Yes.
Let's wait and see how long she figures out until she's muted.
Good, I'll ask my question, haha. Just kidding.
Well, too late. Sorry about that. That was so you didn't hear the dogs barking. Prior to 2020, I'm assuming you talked about that a little bit, but I know the chamber always got a lot of requests. So you are still getting requests to mail things out?
Yes, we are.
Has it been going down at all the last few years? Okay.
Well, obviously in 2020, yes. I can tell you unequivocally,
Right.
it has gone down. You know, in 2019, we still had a good, healthy volume of requests. It is going down, but to answer your question, yes, it is going down. We're receiving more phone calls and more emails than we are the person in Des Moines that writes us a letter.
Right. And I know there was a lot of walk-ins before.
Right.
It's possible that you won't ever have that level of walk-ins again after going back to post-COVID, because people, I think, will have changed their habits. So,
Yeah. And, you know, and the bottom line is when we do pivot all the way around and come back full circle, if you will, yeah, that's definitely something that we're going to have to take a look at.
okay.
Is an office even necessary? Some chambers are going virtual, you know, it's interesting. Lorraine?
Thank you for your presentation. And I know this is hard, but and I love the ideas of the Rediscover Kitsap and the staycation guide. Can you give us an example of how that you convey in your marketing that that we in Kitsap County are following the local and state COVID safety guidelines so that families get a sense that there's room here to spread out and to we're at least doing these prevention strategies, even though we may not know what it looks like next year. I don't know that it's going to change all that much, but I was just wondering about that.
You know, quite honestly, it's not something that I've given a lot of thought to, other than, you know, the chamber, we did produce the Kitsap County toolkit for businesses and for locals. You know, I guess we really haven't, other than on the website. It does, you know, we do promote the toolkit and encouraging people just to practice their social distancing. But it is not one that we have given a whole lot of thought to yet. But it is something that we'll definitely have to give more consideration.
Thank you.
We have about 30 seconds to a minute left on questions for the committee before we take a break, or we can go ahead and hear Matt talk about Explore Port Orchard.
Let's go, Matt.
All right. Well, Explore Port Orchard, I'll give you the same story that I've given for the last 6 years, I think it is. You know, Explore Port Orchard was created as a conglomeration of Fathoms of Fun, Port Orchard Bay Street Association, the port, the city had a seat at the table for a while, and the Sydney Gallery Arts Museum. We all kind of got together in an effort to try to get as much bang for the buck as we could, and for the most part, it's been successful. Funding is always the I want to say the $1 million question, you know, and how we get that, and how we do attempt to make sure that we cover all the bases. So the focus of Explore Port Orchard has been on promoting the area. We still, you know, we still depend upon Fathoms to promote the Fathoms events exclusively, and you know, the POPSA events in each of the different smaller organizations. What we've done in the past is we've taken it upon ourselves to say, you know, these are the things that are happening in the area, and these are the things to do in the area, without necessarily specifically announcing a particular event, whether it's the Arts and Artisans, the you know, whatever fair that we're pushing. So, and we've traditionally done that, and we will continue to do that, obviously, again in 2020. I can give you my whole crystal ball and 2020 sucks speech again, but we'll skip that one. We haven't done the Discover Kitsap, or, you know, the publications. So to answer your question, G, on this one, dude, we've done very little print this year because nobody's picking it up. So that's obviously why a lot of our money hasn't been spent this year. In 2021, like I said earlier, I expect things to pick up. We will continue to work with Sound Publishing in their geo-targeting. And what the way geo-targeting works is it allows us to target festival goers, for example. So while we're not targeting, or we're not promoting necessarily Fathoms of Fun, but when it comes time for Viking Fest in May, we can specifically target those people that are within a 2-mile radius of downtown Paulsville on a particular day, for example, a Viking Fest weekend, and we can tell them about things that are happening in Port Orchard on, for the times to come. So we have money in the budget for that. We have money in the budget to hopefully do a Rediscover Kitsap again, or not Rediscover Kitsap, the Discover Kitsap that the newspaper group puts out. We were scheduled to be in it this year. We weren't because they didn't publish it, and who knows what's going to happen this next year. Hopefully it will be back. One of the things that we did do, Jay, that kind of touches on your question from last time, is we mail out to other visitor centers. Traditionally, we've participated in the certified brochure program where Certified distributes our brochures across the state based on geography to visitor centers, to the little kiosks that are in motels and hotels and things like that. We've spent about $8,000 a year on that for the last few years, and this year we didn't. Next year, we don't intend to do that either. What we've done instead is we have a mailing list of the visitor centers and the chambers of commerce, and we just mail them a stack of our brochures. And last year we included the walking map for downtown Port Orchard. We just basically sent all of those out that way. That cost us about $400 as opposed to $8,000. So, we've shifted away from that. While we shifted away from doing the hard touch stuff, but we're still doing it, just not allocating nearly as many funds to it. Our request also includes funding to belong to things like the Washington Tourism Association, the Washington Festival Association, just so that we can continue to let people know and let others out there know that Port Orchard is a place to come to. And the last thing is the Explore Port Orchard website. We still run it. The Explore Port Orchard Facebook page. Again, Rediscover Kitsap. That's, depending on which hat I'm wearing, which day. We are pushing that also. That's about, for 2020, like I said, we haven't done a heck of a lot, and we haven't sought any reimbursements for that yet either. So,
With
okay.
that, I'll open it up to the committee for questions.
Me?
Me?
So can you break down the 10,000 a little better for me? Maybe it was in there and I
Nope.
went through it quickly.
So what we've got scheduled right now is, last year we'd scheduled, or let's say this year we'd scheduled almost $5,000 for the geo-targeting. Next year on the budget, I've got 2,000. So, and that's two things. One is I don't expect some of the stuff to happen in the fall or in the spring, excuse me. So obviously there won't be any opportunity for geo-targeting. Also, frankly, we don't have a good handle on how much that's going to cost us. So if we just hung around, we'd spend money until we're out of money on the geo-targeting stuff. Mainly probably May, June, July, and August covers the Seagull, the Harbor Fest weekend, covers Fathoms stuff, covers the July events going on, Mustangs, and then it also covers the Saints. So, and then the end of the year, if Taste of Port Orchard happens again, it would cover that time frame for geo-caching or geo-targeting. Direct to mail, I'd budgeted $400 for that. We still have brochures left, so all we need is really the postage. They don't do media mail anymore, so it costs us about $8 to ship all them things. It's crazy. Rediscover the Discover Kitsap magazine, we budgeted $2,500 for that. We've been doing the back page. Nobody else wants to pay $3,500 for the back page, unless Fathom steps up to do it this year. So we've been getting it the last couple of years at a discounted price. So ideally, we would continue to do that. Our memberships are $1,000 in memberships to belong to the various organizations that we belong to. And then the website is about $2,500. And I don't know if you wrote it all down. I think that came to close to 10.
Close enough.
Yeah.
So two more questions. So one, I'm worried whether Discover Kitsap will take place regardless of COVID because of the situation the Kitsap Daily News is in. You don't have to be specific, but hopefully maybe there's something else that we could switch gears and print.
Right. So the main reason, the big reason we do Discover Kitsap, and the same reason that Fathoms probably does it, is because it's distributed on the ferries. I think Discover Kitsap is a moneymaker for them. They still have their salespeople pounding the pavement and trying to, and COVID hit so hard, so fast, they pulled it from the shelf.
Right.
I would hope it would be back. If it wasn't, and if there was an alternative, we would definitely look at that. If there's not an alternative, then obviously we can't spend that money. Because remember, everything that we do is 100% reimbursement.
Right. Right.
And so you cut our funds, we cut what we do. That's the bottom line there. And if we don't spend it like this year, we haven't spent a lot of it. It's all going, well, I can't say it's going back in the coffer because there isn't really much of a coffer left.
Yeah. So my second question, and I don't want to, take all the time on this, but I guess because I have some involvement in Explore Port Orchard, so because it's still technically a conglomeration, I guess I didn't realize there was some memberships that went along with that. And this is more of an observation going forward. Maybe you could share some of that info or emails, or I know I'd be really interested in it. And I don't know about Sharon or Chris or even Kathy at the port. So that would be very helpful to me to get a little. So, I know you probably can't get more than one membership for that amount of money, but if you can spread it around, that would be great.
And I think Chris is actually the main point of contact with WTA.
Okay.
And then one of the main reasons we continue to do that is because by having a membership for the area, Fathoms gets member rates, and POBSA and the gallery can get member rates for the advertising and stuff.
Sure.
And in the past, we have done advertising. We've done featured advertising on the WTA website. And I do know that actually I just got an email today from Brenda saying that WTA is working on a focus group to work on the Washington branding program. So hopefully, if we get the legislature to throw some money at it, because I know that a few years ago they dropped it as being unimportant. Hopefully we can bring that back.
A few years ago before that, they did a branding that most people thought was ridiculous. Say what?
30 seconds. Is there any other committee members that want to ask any questions? Lorraine?
I just have it's actually more of a comment. Matt, I know things haven't been easy, and I really want to thank you for hanging in there this year. And I love the fact that you've been working with other chambers, and you mentioned that you've gotten closer. Really appreciate that. And again, it hasn't been easy. We've all been trying to figure this out as we go along, and it's nice to know you're doing such a good job with your leadership, so thank you.
I appreciate it, Lorraine. Thank you. And thank you guys all for stepping up and doing this, because I know this is a couple hours of your life you're not going to get back.
For a good cause.
For a great cause, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm done.
All right. So Matt, you can hang out with us if you like. The next presenter isn't due for another 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
I know. So with that, we can see if Sharon is the presenter of hers, we can move hers up to now, unless she's got somebody come in later.
We can do mine in about 3 seconds.
Perfect. All right.
Given the fact given the fact that I had submitted everything for the total ball of wax in my original request for event direct marketing and not just simply tourism, Brandy emailed me back and said none of this qualifies for tourism. So I very quickly resubmitted something and had Helene draft me an ad, of which hopefully you've all seen that, just requesting the back page of the Discover Kitsap magazine, to where it markets coming to Port Orchard and not event driven, but pictures of what we do hopefully would qualify for that ad, because all of our ads in the past have been event driven because we put on so many major events a year. And not realizing that maybe I could have gone after some other tourism dollars to promote in other directions. I didn't have time to research all of that, so I just requested the one tourism dollar. But in listening to Matt's presentation about the website, to me, I thought website was operational, so I would consider that my operations request for regular LTAC funding. And so I didn't request any of that. If we can go forward with my $3,500 request, I'll be a happy camper. I do have a question for Jay though. Jay, my question is, because only $100,000 is being allocated for tourism, is that strictly tourism, or, I mean, is that all the LTAC money, period, for 2021? Because if it is, then that doesn't leave very much left for me to request anything further coming into the next phase if we get to go forward with another LTAC request.
Right now, the council has looked at the budget for LTAC as 100,000. It doesn't mean that we can't meet after we have a good idea about what's happening in the future, but it's very conservative. We were running a little bit behind in what we expected, but again, a lot of people are not coming in for reimbursement this year. So we're all trying to figure this out, just like everybody on this committee is trying to figure it out. And so everybody said, let's just go with 100,000 right now, and then we can always revisit a little bit into early into next year when we have a better idea of what's happening down the road. I hope that doesn't sound too wishy-washy. But the crystal ball is very murky at this point in time.
It's very murky, and it's still not very reassuring because we are so totally event driven. And the brochure that we put together, I'm willing to bring down 1,000 brochures if Matt's willing to help get them out, or I'll hand carry them to the kiosk. But I would consider that my tourism marketing to other areas. However, it's totally event specific. So does that even qualify for tourism marketing? I had included a lot of that in my operational program because it was moving forward. As far as reimbursement, out of the 21,000 that we were allocated in 2020, I'm just getting ready to submit for 2 pieces of advertising that we did very early, as well as one that we're just doing now for more local for Kitsap County, but our float expenses as well, because we built an absolutely beautiful float this year, and that's upward to $6,000 that it's cost us, and that's the only reimbursement that I'm able to go after this year. So we have a lot of money that we're not going to be able to submit any kind of reimbursement for because everything's been totally canceled.
Right, and you're not the only activity with that.
Right, I understand that completely. With the county, they had requested that if we wanted to carry what we didn't spend forward, we just changed the county contract, which I did that with the county. So I didn't know if that process would be similar with the city to where you would be able to carry it forward.
No, we were not going to carry forward right now. We'd look at more allocations as we got into the new year.
Okay. Okay. So at this point, my Discover Ag magazine request is the only request that I have for tourism, and hopefully it would bring people to Port Orchard and continue on with our very fun events that we do every summer. It was heartbreaking not to be able to put on our parade and the fireworks. I get all choked up about it because I had a parade sponsor that said, hang on to the money, use it for next year. I had a fireworks sponsor that said, whenever you can make it happen, make it happen. So we moved it from June to September, and we still couldn't make it happen, but we tried. And when Brenda was talking about some of the organizations throughout the county are setting up fencing, doing ticket sales, there's no way we could fence off a parade, fence off fireworks. So we're totally out in the ballpark, out of the ballpark altogether on doing some type of an event like that. And our vendor shows, the vendor shows that we put on, bring us the revenue that we need just to carry on our main operations, our automobile insurance, our event insurance, our supplies, that kind of a thing. So without any kind of revenue, we're going to be in deep water for next year. And concerts, we rely upon our LTAC to fund a good chunk of those, and just keep your fingers crossed we get to move forward. So Brandy, come December, will you let us know?
I would let you know what I know.
I know.
So with that, we can open it up for questions. You did run over a little bit, so we have about 4 minutes for questions if the committee has any for Fathoms of Fun.
So I just, thank you, Sharon. And I know you put your heart into Fathoms and all your activities, and it had to have been really disappointing to not be able to have, especially the fireworks. But I was curious if you and your committee, this is sort of the same question I've been asking others, is that, did you sort of throw out ideas about how to do things differently or how to think about doing them differently, maybe in different locations where more spacing can happen, or so that we can move forward? You sort of started throwing out some ideas, and I just wondered how you've developed maybe some creative thinking on that.
We've done a lot of strategizing. In fact, next week we're doing a new strategizing meeting just to see how we could put on a virtual event. We're looking at trying to put on a virtual run. So we're going to strategize next week on our meeting with our run guru, Scott Lucky. We've strategized, okay, how can we do anything for our Santa breakfast, which all the funds from the Santa breakfast go to support our scholarship program. And there's no way we could have Santa at the Eagles with too many kids. There's just no way we could put kids on Santa's lap. Even if you distance 6 feet from Santa, it's still going to be hard. We've talked about doing an Easter egg hunt. That's always our first event in the spring, is our Easter egg hunt. That draws upwards to 1,700 people at the Kitsap Community Regional Park. And there's no way that we could distance off that because we have too many little kids that want to congregate. When it's raining, we did a drive-by where the kids come by the back of an automobile and get their eggs. They get 6 eggs, they get their eggs, and then they go home. And 3 years ago, we started implementing prizes. So therefore, if you get the golden ticket, it's numbered. When your Easter egg, you come back to the main canopy and you get your prize. Kids have loved that this year. And so if you tried to do it virtually in an automobile, where they come get their egg, they go back to their car, they dig through that egg. If they got a golden ticket, then they got to come back and try and get an egg. It would be a logistical nightmare for the families from that standpoint. So we haven't thought that one through yet on doing the Easter egg hunt. Our vendor shows, if we could do a little bit more of our vendor shows with the farmers market maybe, and capitalize on being able to be downtown, because I've been down to the farmers market and they do have people coming in, and there's they've got it set up to where they have the hand washing stations. So Fathoms, if we can work together with the farmers market, we certainly want to try and do something like that. We're even trying to strategize on what new event could we do virtually that keeps Fathoms alive and well. Our float, we pulled it out of the building that it's in. We hauled it up to that one place because that one place allowed us to set up a fundraiser tent just for that night when they had a car show up there. And it was so exciting that Larry got to drive our float around the parking lot just to show it off to the people that were sitting in their cars or out in front of their cars. And a couple of people did actually see our float from coming down Mile Hill and hear the music. So they pulled into there just to see what it was. And it was exciting just to have our court get on the float and feel like they got to do something. So it's been a bleak year for our court, bleak year for Fathoms. And you're right, Mac, it's been a sucky, yucky year.
We got about 30 seconds. Our next presenter is here, but the committee has about 30 more seconds to ask any more questions of Sharon.
I just want to say you made me tear up, Sharon, because I've spent my whole life doing events, and this just killed me.
It does, it really.
I got a lot of my life back, but it just kills me not to have these events going on. And you guys have such a great group of volunteers.
Yeah.
And I keep trying to think of ways to put those princesses to work.
Well, we appreciate that, Colleen. Corrine.
Randy, you know I'm going off at 3:30, so
Yep.
I'll listen to anything else online, and then tomorrow when we get back together to talk about allocations.
Okay, all right. I'm going to go ahead and admit Chris. I'm just waiting for Chris to connect her audio. All right, so you are on mute, but I'll just go ahead and give you the rundown. So you have 10 minutes, 5 minutes to present your presentation to the committee, and then we'll open it up for 5 minutes for question and answering. So with that, we're going to go ahead and open it up to you to present your application to the committee. And I'm not sure if you're doing the Sydney Museum first or POBSA. If you're doing both, just pick one. Just let us know which one you're presenting, and so we can follow along with you.
Gotta unmute.
Okay, I'm going to do Sydney Museum. And then, Corinne, I'm not sure whether you want to do POBSA.
No, I'm going to let you do it.
Okay, so the Sydney Museum is 2 museums and an art gallery. We're a nonprofit. We have been in existence since 1972. We are one of the few cultural Port Orchard events that people come to see. And we do art shows each month, and we do, we have the Log Cabin Museum open from May to September normally, and we have the Upstairs Museum open whenever the art gallery is open. Right now, we are closed except by appointment only, and that will probably be true through the first of the year. Our ask right now is for what we consider tourism marketing. We don't ask for event money, but the tourism marketing includes the sign on the highway, which is the, it goes in both directions on 16, and then it comes down Tremont and gives directions to the gallery and the museum. We're asking for marketing that we do in publications like the Country Register, which tend to be more generic. They follow along the come to Port Orchard for the day that we've been developing over the last several years. And in publications like Art Access, which is distributed from Bellingham to Portland, Oregon, with hotel concierge, tourist centers, things like that. When we started with Art Access, we were the only art gallery west of Gig Harbor until you got to Port Townsend that advertised in Art Access. And now there are several that, so our part of the world is becoming a little bit more known in terms of art. So that was really good. We also have money allocated for update to the website. It's approximately the same amount that we asked for last year, and it will pay for the same things that we have been doing. So that is I will answer any questions that you might have.
Any of the members of the committee have any questions for Chris regarding Sydney Arts Museum? All right.
I do, but I was noticing, wait. Sorry. Oh, you can hear me, can you?
Yes, we can hear you.
I was wondering about Brenda Kelly. It's harder sometimes to ask questions when you're on the phone. Do you have any questions?
Well, she's not she's just observing. She's a member of the public, so she's actually not part of the committee.
Oh, sorry.
Including her. No, that's fine. You're probably thinking of Jenny with Red Lion. She was not able to attend, but she
Okay.
can watch the recording later and she can attend the meeting tomorrow. So
Okay, sweet.
yeah,
Okay,
sorry,
thank
should
you.
have, remade that announcement.
Thank you, sorry. Thank you, Christine. And I think that's really exciting that the museum is getting more broadly known in the field of art. That shows that you guys have done a really good job reaching out. As I read through this, the tourism marketing, I didn't see any adaptations for COVID in terms of your outreach. Maybe in a way that lets people know that we're following the local and state safety guidelines for COVID. I'm sure you guys, I know you're hugely impacted by it. And it's so unknown what 2021 is going to look like. What discussions have you guys had about maybe tweaking your tourism marketing or providing that information to let people know that we are trying to make our community as COVID preventative as possible?
Well, in the advertising I'm doing in like the Country Register, it says when you feel safe to come to Port Orchard, we'll be here. So come to Port Orchard. We do, on the website, we do have we're currently closed except by appointment. So in terms of what we're doing for COVID is we're not opening because right now the my volunteers are all high risk and I'm not, and the board talked about it and made the determination that it wasn't worth the risk until we hit phase 3. So what we're doing is opening by appointment. We brought in the May show and we did it by video. So we did a video and put it out on the website and on Facebook so that people still have the opportunity to bring their art in and have it judged and get their prizes and bring their family and friends in if they wanted to, but in a safe way. So we're not doing receptions. I think next year, the way it's looking right now, I would be really surprised if we got to do receptions next year. I'm thinking we probably will be able to open either limited hours or doubling up volunteers so that they're there half times. We are going to do more online next year. We're going to, for Christmas, we're going to do a catalog that's both a short run print as well as an online shop so that the artists have the opportunity, again, to bring their stuff in and have people see it and do things like that. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and thank you. And I know this has been really hard on all of you. I think you've done an amazing job trying to figure out how to continue with all the limitations that this has put on all of us. So thank you for hanging in there too.
That's all you can do.
You can do.
So I just realized, so the 50-year anniversary is in 2022 then, right?
It should be next year, 50. They started in mid-1971.
So it's 2021.
Yeah. So with the first Helen Norris show, it wasn't Helen Norris at that time, but the first art exhibit, where they let anybody enter, they did the first one in 1971. So next year will actually be our 50th year. And it's going to be challenging, I think, to figure out how to celebrate that, but not do it in a way that causes people grief.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now I'm going to think about that because that's significant.
It is.
I was going to add that, I mean, it's too bad you can't do your receptions and stuff. I haven't gone to that many. I've enjoyed the luncheon a couple times, but we really enjoyed ourselves when you did the Girl Scout
Oh, the girl with the wine and beer.
beer party. In fact, that was literally just a couple of weeks before we shut down. It was in February, wasn't it?
I want to say it was September.
Was it?
I think so, because it was Girl Scout cookie time.
Okay. Okay.
We do 2 teas a year.
Right.
And normally it's June and December, and this year the June tea we did virtually.
That's right. I participated in it. I forgot.
In that. So we let people order their tea ticket, and then we put together a box with a teacup, a real teacup, and plates and spoons and napkins and the tea sandwich and the dessert and the scone. And whatever the prize was, I think they were little magnets, and had the Fathoms Court help deliver. And we had 50 people participate. And then we did a Zoom meeting for anybody that wanted to drink their tea with a group.
Yeah, it was fabulous. Do it again. I mean, I can't remember. It was my daughters or my mother or something, but the food was good. It was really, really fun. We enjoyed it.
Good. 'Cause we're going to do it for Christmas. So our Christmas tea will be December 12th, and we're going to do the same thing.
Okay, good. I think I'm at the ocean then, but oh well.
Oh, well. Well, I don't think that's outside of our delivery area.
All right, so we got about another minute for some more questions for Chris regarding.
Silverdale and then up to Belfair is our delivery area.
Yeah. Chris, I just have a question, just kind of hypothetically throwing out. When a customer, a tourist, comes to Port Orchard now, the chamber's closed, so they can't really go to the chamber and say, what's going on around here? And they get on their phone and they look up what's in Port Orchard. Then they walk up the hill, get to your store and see your museum and see that the doors are locked, it's closed, and call this number for appointment. I would assume that that's really kind of frustrating for anyone coming to Port Orchard to try and figure out what to do when the buildings are closed. Have you experienced that?
Not a little bit. I've had people call and say, can you tell me if you're going to be open? Because I looked on Google or I looked on your website and the website says you're closed, but Google says you're open. And are you open? And I always call people back and say, no, we're closed, except by appointment. And I'm 2 minutes away. So I literally can go down and open up if somebody wants to
You're
see.
close by.
It's mostly the artists that call to change out art or to bring something new in or something like that. It's not so much. We had people stop by that were a little bit snarly that we were closed, because that was before we decided that we could open by appointment.
Right.
In the early days, they were a little bit unhappy that we were, number one, requiring masks and requiring, we've got the hand sanitizer, we've got all that stuff. And but not too much.
Okay.
Most everybody's been really comfortable with, is kind of getting used to all of the restrictions.
Okay.
Okay, so with that, that would be the end of the presentations for the Sydney Museum. And now the committee can go for a 5-minute break, or if we want to go ahead and go straight into POBSA's presentation, we can do that as well. That is our last presentation for this meeting.
Go for it.
Okay, so Chris, are you ready to present the POBSA?
Okay, let me get that open so that if anybody has a specific question, I can look at it.
See her cat there.
Hi, kitty. It's my comfort cat. My emotional support animal here. Okay, the Port Orchard Bay Street Association. Typically, the Port Orchard Bay Street Association represents the merchants and the businesses in downtown Port Orchard. And in a normal year, we exist with the membership fees that our members pay, with the LTAC grant, and with some other grants that we receive from Kitsap Bank and from Visit Kitsap and from some other small amounts of money that we collect. And we do events in the summer, at least one every month. We work with the chamber, we work with Fathoms. to bring people downtown. We do the flowers, the hanging baskets, and the planted pots up until last year. We did the lights at Christmas. This year, obviously, we haven't been able to do, because of COVID, we haven't been able to do any of the events, and that's been tough. We've done the best we can with changing how we do things. We've done a lot of selfie contests. We've done a lot of, we're still here, please come when you feel safe. We've done a lot of whatever effort we can make to help bring people still to Port Orchard as things are opening up. And that, I think, we're hopeful that next year it's going to open up a little bit more so that by the summer we'll be able to continue to do events. And I know we're not talking about events today, we're talking about tourism marketing. So tourism marketing for the Bay Street Association is generic marketing that we do that's not event driven. So we do marketing in both online and in publications that are directed at bringing people to Port Orchard for the day. Come for the day, come to the Bay, come and spend a couple days. I mean, we do it to bring people in when there is no event or just because it's a nice place to come. So our ask for this round for tourism marketing includes those same things we've been doing. Our website, Facebook booths, print marketing in sound publishing outside of the Port Orchard area, as well as Country Register. There's a vintage publication that we put that's distributed to all the antique stores that we advertise in. There is the just Destination Washington, which is not it's the state website. We with the chamber who has the membership there, we can do some generic marketing there. We didn't this year because everything was closed down for most of the year, but so that's what our ask is for. Our ask is for when we're advertising come to Port Orchard, it isn't an event and we can't hit that bucket of money, but it's important that we do it. And it's important that we do it for downtown and not in just the come to Washington, but come to downtown Port Orchard. And so that is our ask for this year.
Okay, so we got about 6 minutes for questions for Chris regarding POBSA.
Oh, and I'm sorry, the walking map. We do the walking map as well.
Yeah, I was just going to add that.
We didn't do that this year because there's too many point in wasting that money to put out something where most of those people were going to be closed anyway.
Yeah, I will say that we continued to distribute last year's map, which isn't entirely accurate, but people do come looking for them. And if Jay was here, he was asking everybody about, how much they went to online. But that's a piece, Chris, that people want a map in their hands when they're walking around downtown.
They really do. They want something besides saying, okay, there's a map online. They really do want the map in their hands, and the store owners want to be able to circle something they're talking about. And that happens a lot. You open up the map and you say, well, don't miss going to this place to eat lunch, or here's where the chamber is over here, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I haven't seen the walking map this year because I've been glued to my home pretty much most of the year like everybody else. But on your walking map, does it have an area where you list any kind of events in the walking map?
On the back page, on the back fold, we list all of the downtown. We list all of the events. So we list like Major Fathoms events. We list all of the downtown events. It's the back panel of the map.
I thought that. In going forward, however, it's like with us, we want to do our brochure. We want to put it out. We want to get it on our website. We want to put it on Facebook. Come December, we want to start creating everything. But if we're not moving into phase 3 or into phase 4, it just negates anything we want to try and do because we can't go anywhere with what we have. So it doesn't make sense to do a walking map and put events on it if the events aren't going to happen. So are you looking at delaying that process?
Well, what I'm thinking, and I really have to talk to the board about it, but what I'm thinking is that instead of the events themselves, we link to the people who have the events and say, please check out
Websites.
the Fathoms website. Please check out the Chamber. Please check out Explore Port Orchard. Please check out the POPSA website to know who's doing what things.
Yeah.
That to me seemed to make sense, because then you're still saying if events are available, this is where you're going to find that information.
Right. And under the COVID restrictions, please go here.
And right now, for in phase 2, any gather, as you all know, any gathering is limited to 5 people. So events make no sense at this point. And even in phase 3, unless the governor changes his mind about it, the last time I looked, it was 10 people. And so that doesn't make any sense either. So unless things really change, we are going to be limited to sort of local, the selfie contests or local, we did Ladies Night Out this year. Instead of doing it one night for 2 hours and encouraging 1,000 women to come to Port Orchard, which none of us felt comfortable doing,
Right.
we said, let's make it a 3-day weekend, encourage people to come and shop. Remember, the shops are here. Remember to shop local. Come down, have a nice time, have a meal, meet a friend, and do it leisurely over a 3-day period. And honestly, the response was pretty positive.
Yeah, I think,
On merchants even better.
yeah, I think, for like Halloween, I'm trying to make sure that I saw Paulsbo do this. I'm trying to make sure that the community knows, just because there's no organized trick-or-treating, the stores and restaurants are still open. And I saw Paulsbo talking about the same thing. But, my opinion on the event listing is we've all been in this now for whatever the heck, 15 years, however long it's been since COVID started. People know, they understand. I think in some situations it might be, you could word it, normally this is what takes place in March and June and July and August, and, stand by, tentative, check with us.
Check with us.
So we can continue to get people in, knowing here's what we do at this time of year, but if we don't do it this year, it's not our fault, So, but
I have one person that somehow just has adopted me, and she messages me probably once a month. Any events this month?
But as Chris said, we've gone to some virtual stuff. We're doing a virtual costume contest, and I will say in that particular instance, it doesn't really benefit the downtown because we're not making them come downtown to take their picture.
No.
But we've done a lot of other things that they're supposed to go downtown or go out to restaurants. And we're spending a little more money on boosting social media. So there's, we're doing so much virtual, you have to use social media more. So.
We got about 30 seconds. Any other questions for Chris? Lorraine?
I just was thinking about all the marketing outreach that Chris, you described. And my question is, are you, I love the idea that you did with the raffle card. You did some sort of tracking of people through a raffle card. And I was wondering what that research showed you in terms of, are more of the people local from that particular research, or are they more out of town? And the reason why I'm asking is your marketing sort of addressing that local? We've heard a lot about staycations and getting local people to come. So that was sort of a convoluted question. I hope I didn't make it more difficult.
Well, The raffle cards are all sort of event driven. You know, we do Bobby baskets at the Taste of Port Orchard or for the ladies' night out and things like that. So for tourism marketing, we really don't have a good tracking mechanism except for people that sign in when they visit places. But to answer your specific question, I would say it's probably 3/4 local, from like the Bremerton, Port Orchard, Olalla, maybe some Paulsbo, Bainbridge Island, and about 1/4 out of the county, out of state that we collect information from when people are coming to events. So we had last year, as an example, we did that wrapper in the Sound Publishing for Christmas, and we had people come. There was a gentleman from Silverdale who came down with it in his hand, who said that's where he was from, and it looked so much fun that he came down to see what was going on. So we had experiences like that, but for the most part, the raffle tickets collect the information from the people that have come to an event that want to enter the basket drawing. And you'll sometimes get people from out of town willing to tell you where they're from, but for the most part, it's really pretty local people.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that, and to be fair to the previous presenters, that's all the time that we have today. So I'm going to go ahead and just remind the committee that we have a meeting tomorrow at 1. It is a public meeting. Everybody's more than welcome to attend that meeting. That meeting is for the committees to deliberate and provide a recommendation to the council as to what allocations will be used to the organizations for 2021 funds. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.